Hi, welcome to the Guitar Department. I'm your host, Joe Alton. Today, I'm dressed up like Bob Ross because this is our special Halloween episode of the Guitar Department. We're going to cover a few songs that are sort of Halloween themed, and I've got a special tribute to the man himself, Bob Ross. But first, I wanted to talk about what Bob Ross brought to his show. Part of the reason Bob Ross is a cultural icon is that he made painting accessible to anybody who wanted to try it. You'd look at an oil painting and think that looks really hard, but when you watch Bob Ross do it, it didn't quite seem so hard. And he did it with a very special technique that would involve painting the entire canvas white and then just layering wet paint on top of wet paint so that he could finish an entire painting in a half hour and show everybody stroke by stroke how to make that painting or something similar. The best version of this show in my head would emulate the same idea and make music accessible to anybody who wanted to play it. And the technique that Bob used involved his philosophy of no mistakes, just happy accidents. And the reason that was necessary is that you were painting on top of wet paint. You can't really go back and undo all of that. So today, I thought I'd do something a little special. And I'm going to try to emulate the same idea that Bob Ross used in his paintings and layer some stuff on top of each other with a device called a looper pedal. And what I've got today on my board down here is called the Ditto Looper from TC Electronics. And I've also got a couple of other pedals here, compressor and distortion pedal, multi-effects pedal that has a tremolo effect, and quick draw delay. And we're going to use these pedals to sort of give the music different colors as we go through. And I hope you enjoy this. This is a song I'm calling Happy Little Accidents. And now I'd like to show you the song Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult. Now you might know this as the song from the cowbell sketch on SNL. But it's also a really good example of arpeggiating a chord and keeping a brisk tempo through an interesting technique. And so what we're going to do is we're going to finger our first chord. And it's only going to be 2 fingers. The first finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, the E, and the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, the A. And we're going to start at the A string, the 5th string, and with our pick, we're going to go down, 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 and then I'm going to go up for that 3rd note. We're just going to let them ring as we go. There's no need to mute any of these as you go. And once we lift off, play 0, 2, 2, the 2nd fret on the 3rd string is the A. We're going to lift that finger off. We're going to lift both of them off, actually, and play the open G string. Just like that, that's our first chord. At this point, we're going to finger the first half of a G chord. 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the top string on G, pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, the 5th string on B. And then we're going to play the top 4 strings, so the 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd. And with your right hand, it's really sort of a slow strum, almost like a sweep in slow motion. Just like that, down to the 3rd string. And then we're going to shift to an F power chord. And we're going to leave the 2 strings that were open on the last chord open again, the 4th and 3rd string. So it'll be 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 6th string on F, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string on C, and then 2 open strings below that will be the 4th string and the 3rd string. And then we go back to our G chord and do the exact same thing that we did on the 2nd chord. And that's our main riff. The whole thing together sounds like this. And now part of the trick to getting this down, just as a piece of advice, is to use the open strings to have time to move the fingers. So you'll play 0, 2, 2, 0, and during that 0, you'll be moving the fingers to the G chord, and you'll play 3, 2, 0, 0, and during that last 0, you can take the hand off of the chord and finger your F chord, which again is just a 1st finger and 3rd finger. And then during those zeros, you'll lift off and back to the G chord. And it runs at a pretty brisk tempo. So you want to work your way up to that tempo. Start off nice and slow. And just make sure you've got all the notes even. Every note is the same length, so don't make any note longer or shorter than any other note in the song, and you should be just fine with that intro. When it speeds up a little bit, as you're speeding it up, you'll want to make sure those notes stay even. And that's the intro. Now we're going to take a look at the chorus part. And what we're going to do is go from having all these notes ringing out to a palm muted single note on the top string. You're going to play the 1st fret of your 6th string 4 times. And I have the palm of my right hand rested on the bridge, just on the active part of the string, about a finger's width into the active part of the string. You can accomplish this by sort of resting on the back of the bridge, just behind it, and then when your pick hand comes over to pick the string, you end up with a note that's just a little bit stunted. You don't want to go too high, because if you go too high, it won't sound at all, or you'll change the note. here, somewhere in there, you start to hear the actual note. And this whole section is played with that palm mute. So with that in mind, the notes are 4 Fs on the 1st fret of the top string. Then you're going to go to the 3rd fret and play 4 of that note, the G. And then up to the 5th fret, which you're going to play 8 times this time. That is an A. So we go 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And then we're going to go back through the cycle again, but this time a little differently. It'll be 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. 4 times again, 0, 0, 0, 0. Back to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 this time, and then down to 3. So we'll have F, E, A, G, all 4 times each. And then we start sort of in the middle of our previous chord progression on the F chord. And then back to the G. And then our cycle starts anew. And so here's that cycle one more time, a little bit slower. And then you're just back into the normal progression as you've been playing it before. At that point, all that's left is the bridge section and the solo section. We have a little bit of an irregular part going on here. What happens is the whole band cuts out, and you end up with these 3 notes playing 5 times in a row. It's a 15 on the 4th string, an F, then down to the A flat on the 3rd string. It'll be the 13th fret. And then down to a C on the next string down. This actually outlines an F minor chord. But we're going to play them individually. They don't ring into each other. One note stops when the next note gets played. We play that 5 times, and then our first finger, or what I'm using my first finger for, these 13s, move back a fret to the 12th fret. That one plays through 6 times. So you'll go 15, 13, 13, 15, 13, 13, 15, 13, 13, 15, 13, 13, 15, 13, 13, and then down to the 12th fret for 6 times through the same cycle with 12s instead of 13s. And then back to the 13s, and then back to the 12s. And that's the first half of it. Without me explaining it in between, it sounds like this. In the second half of the bridge part, I'm going to click on my distortion, and we end up with this sort of odd progression between an F minor chord and a G major chord, arpeggiated. The first few notes, 5 notes at a time, they sound like this. And that's your first part, first fret of the first fret of the 6th string to the 3rd fret to the 4th fret. Notice that I've left my pinky free to grab the 5, which is 2 strings down on the 4th string. So 5th fret of the 4th string, and then to the 3rd fret of the same string, the 4th string. Then we have our second chord, which is a G major chord with an added note at the end. So we go to the 3rd fret of the top string, which is the G, 2nd fret of the 5th string, which is a B, to the D on the same string, the 5th string, which will be the 5th fret, then down a string to an A flat, and then down to a G on the 6th and 5th frets. So 3, 2, 5, 6, 5. That set of notes repeats 4 times while the soloist solos over top of it. And then once that stops, after the 4th time, we carry just the 1st fret of the top string in F for 8 beats, and then you go to the 3rd fret, the F, or the G, then back to F, and back to G. And then again, the whole song stops, and underneath this ringing note, you hear our original progression start back up. And just like that, the bridge is over. And that's how you play Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult. Next, I'm going to show you how to play John Carpenter's theme to the Halloween movie series. And this is mainly just the main part of the song. It's not the entire thing. Obviously, these compositions get pretty intense. But the first part of it is actually very easy. You're going to start with your ring finger on the 9th fret of the high E string, the 1st string, and your pointer finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string, the B string. And you're essentially going to let these two, you're going to play just those 2 notes until you hit this 10 with your pinky. You're going to play the 9 on the 1st string, then up to the 7 on the 2nd string twice, and then do that cycle again, 9, 7, 7, and then it's 9, 7, 10, 7. See, the pinky comes up, or you can stretch the ring finger out. I know some people don't like using their pinkies. Using your pinky is worthwhile though, so I'm going to use my pinky on this. But 9, 7, 7, 9, 7, 7, 9, 7, 10, 7, and then that repeats. That whole thing happens again. And what happens next is the whole mess just moves down 1 fret to the 8th and 6th frets. The pinky, in this case, will take the 9th fret. So 8, 6, 6, 8, 6, 6, 8, 6, 9, 6. Then that comes back up and we play the whole thing again. And at that point in the song, he makes it a little bit darker simply by moving it down another fret, which really adds a creepy element to it. And then we move down 1 more fret to the 4th and 6th frets. And then we move it back up to 5 and 7 again. 7, 5, 5, 7, 5, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5. Then down to 4 and 6 again. 6, 4, 7, 4. And that's how you play the Halloween movie theme by John Carpenter. Next, we're going to learn how to play the Addams Family theme song, and this is just kind of for fun. it starts out in the key of F. We're going to play the first 4 notes of an F major scale. The first fret on the top string is F, to the 3rd fret, then down a string to the 5th string. It's a 0, it's an A, and then a B flat on the 1st fret. That gives us our first phrase. And then you can snap your fingers if you want to keep the true feel of the Addams Family theme song. The easier way to get around it is to do what's called a string scrape. Just like that. Then we're going to move from the F major scale to the G major scale. We're going to start on the 3rd fret of the top string, the 6th string on G, then down a string to the 5th string on A, the open string. The 2nd fret will be B, and then the 3rd fret of the 5th string is C. And that gives us our second phrase. Then we're going to play that 2 more times in a row without the string scrapes between them. Make sure you stop that C cold so it doesn't ring out too long. And then we're going to do the F scale again. And then we're going to do 2 more string scrapes. And that's the intro. Here's the whole thing together. Once you have that, we move on to the melody of the song itself. Now, I won't sing it for you because, frankly, nobody wants that. But we're going to start on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, which is also an F. And we're going to move down from that through the next 2 strings, the 2nd string and the 3rd string, also on the 3rd fret. That outlines a B flat chord, actually. So we're going to start with those 3 notes. Then back up to the 3rd string on the 3rd fret, open string on the 3rd string, and then we have the 4th string 1st fret and the 2nd string 1st fret. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 1, 1. Here's that whole phrase in real time. Just like that. We're going to play that whole phrase again later, but between now and then we have a second phrase, which starts on the open G string, then to the 2nd fret on the G string, the A, down to the 1st fret of the 2nd string, back to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then down to the 3rd fret on the 4th string. Then we go 0 on the 4th string, and then the B flat or the 3rd fret on the G string. So that phrase sounds like this. So we've got our first phrase and our second phrase. Then we play our first phrase a second time. And then it rounds off with the following phrase. And that is the 3rd fret, that B flat again on the G string, to the 2nd fret, or the A on the G string, then up to the F on the 4th string, and then down a string on the 3rd string. We're going to go 0, 2, 3. All of this happens with what's called a swing rhythm, too. And that's how you play the Addams Family. For this week, our pedal of the week is the Ditto Looper by TC Electronics. Now looping is a simple concept where the pedal records what you're playing while you're playing it, and when you tap on it, it starts an edit, so to speak. And when you tap on it the second time, it ends that edit and starts back at the beginning of the edit. So you could start it in the middle of your song, or you could start it right at the beginning like I did earlier. But when you tap on it the second time, it immediately starts playing what you played at the very beginning, and it just keeps looping that recording over and over, allowing you to play over top of it. To give you an example, I'll play a little blues thing. Just like that. If I tap right when I start playing, on beat 1, you don't want to tap and then start playing. You want to tap right when you start playing. So now I have this looped progression, and I can just practice soloing over top of it. Can add the distortion pedal. And then with the looper pedal, I can actually add layers on top of it. So if I tap it again, so now it's added my second layer on top of the first thing that I played. And I can actually keep adding layers if I want. And then all you have to do is press and hold, and it deletes your last loop. So I can go back to just the progression itself, or I can double tap, hold it down, and it wipes the entire memory, and I can start over again if I'd like. Happy little accidents. Well, thank you for tuning into the Guitar Department. Happy Halloween out there, everybody. I want to thank our producer, Bryce Jarrett, who's doubling as our cameraman today. And be sure to join us on Facebook at facebook.com/theguitardepartment. Stay safe out there, Halloween.